Hey, welcome to Breaking Boxes with No Fun Dave. And my special guest today is Mike Seiler. Now, I met Mike just before he had this like major career transformation. His family life's always been very sort of the stable, the same. I think you've been in the same house as long as I've known you, right? That's the last 15 years you've been in the same place.
Second house.
But okay, second house. But career wise, he's like your proverbial risk taker. Oh, hey, things are going great. Let's do something else, kind of person.
Hmm.
And when I met him, he was the top producing realtor in our area, and now he's not. In fact, he doesn't sell a single house now, which is really cool.
Hmm.
So, Mike, welcome to the show. I thank you for joining me.
Thanks, David. And just to clarify, in case any realtors are watching from the area, they will challenge me. They will say, "Where did you get that stat from?" And I typically would not say that I was the top producing realtor, but I was a top producing realtor.
Okay, how about this? He was the most attractive realtor in the
That's right.
area.
That
And
we know the realtors that we're talking about, so the answer to that is yes.
and I don't even know if he was sporting that super awesome beard, but he is now. So
Yeah,
all men can be jealous of his hair and beard.
that side
Um,
profile thing going on.
yeah,
You know,
but
it took me 40 years, well, 20 years of growing a beard to realize that you're not supposed to cut your beard here. You're supposed to cut it down here a little bit, just like
oops.
David. I mean, and I probably seen you like that, and I never got it, but I don't know. I'm loving the beard though.
So you had like more the chin strap for years.
Yeah,
In the-
yeah.
Hmm.
Just well, I only had a goatee, right? But
Okay,
yeah, I would
right.
cut it way too close up there and show my double chin. So
Important lessons to life. Make sure you cut your
they are,
beard a little bit lower. These. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
invaluable skills.
Hmm. Yeah.
Invaluable. And so let's start chatting by I want to know your thought process behind I am a top producing realtor to I'm gonna go big or go home.
Yeah, so we moved to the Grey Bruce area, uh, about 12 years ago now, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I think David and I have always said that we're similar in that way. We're willing to go out and take risks. I'm a self-proclaimed entrepreneur at heart, and I've been this way since I've been just a teenager. Like writing my first book, if you search my name, you'll find that I have a book published in the International Library of Canada, has an ISBN number, and so you get your headset on thing. I'm not a successful author, don't get me wrong. But yeah, we came to the area just because real estate prices were affordable, and I didn't know what I was going to do, so I picked up camera, got into real estate photography, and realized that I couldn't squeeze enough money out of the local realtors. So you know what they say: if you can't beat them, you join them, and that started my career in real estate. So I've been in real estate about 11 years now, and the first five of that, I was with a competing company. I started a team from day one. We became a successful team with two other realtors, so there's four of us and our own kind of admin. And I'm there was probably some personal reasons there were why I felt like I needed to break away. And then yeah, there's just something in me that uh, I always have to keep on going forward. It's hard to explain, but I can tell you between the age of 17 and 18, I probably had 20, 30, 40 jobs. Like my shortest jobs were literally walked into a factory, some guy showed me around, the buzzer went off for break time, and I walked out of the factory. Like I just couldn't comprehend how I could stay here doing what that guy just told me what my job was. And so yeah, I it's a blessing and a curse though, right? To like be stable and secure and have a good business and still, it's not that you want more money. I think we're similar to that, or similar in that way, David and I. It's not that you just want to have more. It's not about money. It's just about like satisfying this growth hormone in your brain that just wants to to
I've,
be
I've always
challenged.
I've always equated it to freedom and control. I want to make the decision, win or lose. I want to make the decision, and
Yeah.
I want the freedom to be able to choose what I want to do.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 So
So
to go
you're so you're
from
now you're now broker of record of Century 21 in the area and quite a few areas around.
Yeah, we have a pretty good monopoly on Gray and Bruce. So we have 7 offices, somewhere north of 45 realtors. When you say I'm the broker record, that's going to change in about a month, where our office manager is becoming our broker record, and it's that's the goal, right? Is that you would create a system that would be self-sustaining, that you can kind of step back. And I won't be able to step back for the next couple of years, but you start to put those into place.
And
Yeah.
so does that take you just as owner, like that
Yeah.
just moves you into the owner category as opposed to being
Yeah.
responsible for the legalities and the running of
Yeah,
the practice?
exactly. The title broker record, it's kind of like factory work. It doesn't really line up. I had to do it for a season, or for
Yeah.
6 years now, but it's the same thing. Like, checking over paperwork and taking phone calls, and to give that to a more qualified individual, which we're doing, is yeah.
Now, I remember sitting in your office one afternoon, and this is probably, I think this was year one of taking over, of starting the Century 21 in the area, and we were chatting about, you had four realtors under contract at that time, and not a whole lot of listings, and no sales, and sitting in the office, having gone from being like go 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 sell 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 to no, I've got to build other people doing stuff for me, and wondering how you're going to make it to next month or 6 months. Um, in your mind, how do you take those times of uncertainty and risk and fear, and I guess turn them into forward action?
Yeah, I don't know. And I hindsight, like, if I were selling real estate today in the same trend I was as a producing realtor, I would be making substantially more today. Uh, right now, I'm just arriving to the point where I'm making what I made, which was good. Like, I was doing well then. I'm doing well again, but I woke up every morning as a realtor, and I said, life is good. I thought my job was incredibly easy. And now I wake up and I have to coach and be the shoulder for 45 other realtors, and it's incredibly difficult. And I'm not making, and like, in that growth process, like you said, from day one, I had a couple of investment properties. I had to sell them just to float the boat. And it wasn't scary, but it was uncertain. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I could have lost it all. And by losing it all, like, what's interesting, and again, comparing myself to yourself, David, is we're not afraid to lose it all, because we're able just to keep, like, we're able bodied, right? Like, that's why I don't take disability insurance. I'm like, because I'm gonna lose my leg, and then you're gonna tell me that you're gonna pay me this money if I sit at home, but as soon as I go and start making money again, I'm no longer qualified for my disability. I'm like, so no, I don't want disability insurance, because if my head gets lobbed off, and I can't be ambitious anymore, then you pay
Sure.
me, but then I won't be alive, right?
Yeah.
But cut off any other limb, and I'm going to keep on going,
Right.
right?
Mike is his own insurance policy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, it's just I just find it so interesting because there's this idea in our culture that if you just do what you're supposed to do, you'll be okay, and you'll be consistent, and you won't have to worry about any stress or fear, and then you can get to retire. Then you get to do what you actually want to do. Um, and I've always looked at that and said that seems wrong or backwards. And I know there's some people who do it well and are joyful in that. In my experience, I've found that all of the excitement in life, all the stories that we end up telling our friends and our family that we get excited about, doesn't happen within that box. And if we're spending all of our time in that box, then what kind of a life are we actually living? So, I mean, I'm biased on this. I know. I think I've taken the crazy step to maybe the crazy leap, maybe the crazy cliff jump. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but
Well, and
you
it
start.
takes us all as well. Like there's like your high DI on on that disc uh, profile,
The
right? Like
personality
your
profile.
yeah, but those the S's and C's. It's another hard lesson I'm learning and I'm embracing. It's based on reading this book called "What Got You Here Won't Get You There,"
Mm,
and the that phrase in itself put into the wrong hands is this idea that we're supposed to step on people and like climb this corporate ladder, but actually it's really neat uh, to actually intentionally go after your the people in your workplace, your sphere of influence, and try to like extract from them what your weaknesses are, because we kind of just go through uh, life just doing what we think we know is best, and people are gossiping around us, and our employees and our staff, not in a negative, not necessarily in a bad way, but they're like, my staff just know me as who I am, and some of that's really good and some of that's not so good, and if I can figure out that not so good stuff and I can start to change that, then I'm ready to kind of go to that next level. And so this was the first year that we introduced a completely anonymous questionnaire, and it was the hardest thing I ever did. Like, not the hardest thing I ever did in my life, but I mean, business wise, I'm the type of guy who will quit after a 3 month review. They give me that negative feedback. I'm like, why are you telling me this now? Why didn't you tell me that 2 weeks into it? Why do you wait until 3 months to tell me that I sucked in this area? But like having 45 realtors like have the confidence that they can like anonymously review me, and the feedback I got, oh, it hurt.
I
Like it
bet.
hurt real good. But then you get that.
What was your favorite thing in there that you've now addressed? I'm sure. And
I blocked it. It's gone. No. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just it's little stuff, but it's stuff that you think that you're good at and you're proud of, and still people aren't. I mean, yeah, it's how people perceive you, and I'd have to go back to it. I think one of them was about uh, coaching and not feeling that they were receiving enough of it. I'm like, I'm here every single day, and we have weekly meetings to which some people don't show up, and it's like, are you one of those people that aren't showing up because you're
right.
missing it, right? And so I don't know. Yeah, it was
Well, it's
interesting.
interesting because there's no growth without discomfort, and there's very little growth without the right feedback or the right analysis. You got to be able to look at truth. Okay, what's the truth of what's happening here, and what results are being produced by that, and then make adjustments based on it. But the truth gathering part is very uncomfortable, and so one of the things that I've had to address lately is my commitment to consistency. I'm a
Hmm.
very dreamer kind of. Hey, I've got an idea here and here and here and here,
Oh,
and
preach it.
and I go here and here and here and here. But I'm not spending enough time at the first one to even find out if it's going to
I
do what I
know.
want it to do. There's not enough time or not enough repetition to be able to produce something good or great or
Hmm.
amazing to even find out is that gonna be what I want. And so it's like, okay, no, just gotta of these crazy ideas. Great, write them down, find them out, make a list of the next thing you want to try, but now be consistent in one of them over and over and over to the point of discomfort, to the point of being a habit. I know there's books on that kind of stuff too. Um,
David, that's the biggest lesson that I'm going through right now, and I feel like I'm on the tipping point of it, because being a high DI, I tell like the people I've surrounded myself with now, I tell them that I'm going to get really excited about something, and I'm going to go all out on an idea, and then I'm going to lose steam. And this like there's two things that need to happen in both of these scenarios. The first part, when you have this great idea, you need to have the like on that disc profile, you need to have the S and C around you to really help you strategize properly, and to be critical, and to, help you think about the things you're missing. And when those things work together, that's when you come up with, like, they can't pull you back too, because they're also the type of people who see holes in everything, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, I don't think you should do that, David. It's like, no, no, I didn't come here to be talked out of it. We're doing it,
Right.
right? But what I need you to do is help add, like, stability to it and foundation. Now, and then the second part is, like, when I lose steam, I need you guys to keep on, like, adding to it. Like, don't let me stop.
Fuel.
Yeah, keep on fueling it. And they're able to do that because that's the slow and steadiness about them. And so
Right.
now I have two administrators just on these, like, when I'm building this website and a podcast, and I say, I need you to continue to build the interviews, like, just, like, feed them to me, right? Like, because I'm gonna stop making those phone calls. I'm paying you, like, by the hour. Make the phone calls.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that you come up with interesting ideas, and they are interesting, and some of them are absolutely stupid, and some of them are great. And you look at these, and it's like, okay, well, no, I want to do this, and then I look 5 years down the road, it's like, oh, that would be awesome. Except there's a lot of work in the middle there that nobody sees, that nobody looks
Yeah.
at, that nobody gives you feedback on, that I never see again, and is part of that building process of training you to be able to talk when you want to talk, in this case, or having a community of people where you are reaching out to them regularly and say, no, I want to pick your brain. I want to hear what you have to say, because you're important and valuable. Hey, Mike, you're important and valuable. Just to let you know,
Thank you.
I appreciate you as my friend, and I've always been impressed at your ability to get something out the door. Um, to tell you how crazy Mike is, he decided on I'm going to say on a whim, because my understanding of the story is that he found a property in town for lease that was a good price, and he's like, "Hey, let's start an escape room." And all of a sudden, magically, there was an escape room in town, which I have been to. It is the only escape room I have ever been to. So I have nothing to compare it to, but it was a lot of fun.
And it's one of the most painful business experiences of my life. We ran it for a year and a half, and in 3 days from now, the business will be no longer. And I lost more money on that business than any other business in my life. And it's a war story. Um, it's a rite of passage. Like, I've encouraged myself with it by saying, if you lose, like, if you haven't lost, and I've lost so many times, I just can't wait to the point where I finally arrive, where I can compare myself to Colonel Sanders and all, like, Bezos, who, like, pitched Amazon to whatever it was, 150 and or 200 investors, and only, like, you have to be willing to lose. And but I think you have to be willing to lose strategically. Like, I took money that I'd saved. I didn't borrow it. I didn't, because I wouldn't be able to borrow it, because I never come up with a proper business plan. Had I come up with a proper business plan, I probably wouldn't have started it. That's besides the point. But I had the money to lose, right? And so I invested that money, and still, I mean, it was an incredible idea, an incredible business, but I didn't know anything about running an escape room, and the some of the demands that is factory work, right? And I was the only one who knew how to fix the machines in that factory. I'm too busy to
Well, and I
manage
want
it.
to highlight the point here about failure too, because if you're not failing at something, you're not trying hard enough. I like to say,
100%.
because you're gonna, and the success and failure part is our interpretation of it, but really, you just got some feedback. It's like, okay, I had an idea, I tried it, I did everything that I could do in my current situation to make it go, and found out that no, I don't want to run an escape room. And for better or worse, now you have that answer. And
And I got huge freaking muscles. I mean, every bodybuilder will tell you that if you're not going to failure, you're not growing, and it's really that simple. That's the analogy. Like, if you're not failing, then you're not trying hard enough. And even within your own business, even in your own idea, if you're not failing within your business, doesn't mean your business needs to fall apart. And but and this is a Bezos thing as well. He's like, how many things that Amazon has started that have failed, but
Mhm.
it's a couple of things that they started blew up. Like the Amazon came out with their own phone or something like that. It tanked,
I
right? But
don't even remember that.
right, but so you're allowed to fail within your company, and that's a really good mindset.
And then
My
you have
problem
to
was
know that there's a time that you have to cut it off.
sure,
Like,
and
I'm
that
not going
he
to just
yeah
keep dumping money into it, hoping that it's going to turn around, because
totally
doing the same thing over and over the same way isn't going to give you different results. It's going to do the
yeah
same thing over and over.
yeah
And the way I'm going to relate this to is I talk to a lot of people who are in the, let's call it career choosing stage of life, like that late teenager to young adult. Oh, I don't know what to do in life. And one of the things I find so interesting is that they're afraid to even go find out. And so my advice has always, whether it's good advice or bad, I'm not quite sure, but has always been go talk to somebody who's doing the thing you think that you want to do. You may not even be able to volunteer to find out, but okay, go volunteer your time for nothing to find out doing that work. Is it something that you want to do more of or less of? Do you want to do this every day for the next 30 years? Or
hmm
even find out if you want to get good at it. Talk to the people who have done it for 30 years. Would you do it again? Would you do something different? And you can find all sorts of answers by asking the right questions to the right people before you ever choose, hey, I'm going to go to university. Or I'm going to go, well, I don't want to go to school for something for 4 years. This is something some young people near me right now are complaining about. It's like, well, I don't want to go spend the next 4 years and $150,000 to get a degree doing something I don't want to do. Okay, well, go
hmm
find out whether or not you want to do it first. You don't have to spend the 4 years, and this is one of these paradigms that our society has jumped into, which is like, no, you have to go to school to get a degree. Well, which degree? In what industry? Oh, well, you got to get a rounded education. What does that mean? What's that going to do for me? If I want to go produce something, how do I go find out if that's the thing that I want to produce and get good at? I was talking to a lady yesterday, and she was her family had encouraged very strongly into architecture, and it turns out she hated that work, that factory kind of architecture work, and she didn't finish the architecture ing, but she had a lot of knowledge there. And it turns out she really enjoyed the legal aspect of document writing and review and conflict resolution between lawyers and architects. And so now she is specializing in um, architecture, legal communication, and conflict resolution. And it's like there's nobody doing it. I'm the only
yeah
one
yeah
that's
yeah.
interested in this stuff. And it's like, okay, now you've become valuable in an area that's interesting to you, but you found that out by I'm going this way, I don't like it. Now I'm going this way, I don't like it. Now I'm going this way, I don't like it. And so that failure and that feedback loop is is not something to be afraid of. It's something to jump into and find out all
Mhm.
you can about. So anyway, so that's a sorry, a little rant there, but
Well, no, but you know what I love about that? I've always had a similar mindset, and I absolutely, I think there's value in the education system, like post-secondary universities. I think there's certain, like you can't be a doctor without going to university. I
absolutely,
mean, it's illegal, right? Like there's places for people like you. It's called jail.
yeah,
But for the most part, yeah, I strictly every teenager I can talk to, especially my own children, I'm like, stay away because like every more than 50% of the people I can rhyme off who have went to post secondary school are not doing anything related to, so then it's such a flaw in the system that funnels our kids from high school to post-secondary and gets them into debt and burns all this time. And so the best example I have, and I've been using this for years and years, is take someone who says, I want to be a police officer. And I think this can apply across the board. You take a profession like a police officer and you say, what are the like take like three or four key components of being a police officer, and I'll just give you some. So like martial arts, like knowing how to do self-defense, right? How about a security job, like at a nighttime, like at a wherever, an overnight
yeah,
security? I mean, that's going to build some character and let you know if you're even cut out for, are you a fight or a flight kind of person? Like something creaks and you're in the bathroom, you probably shouldn't be a police officer. What about like getting like sharpshooting, like getting your gun license and becoming a really proficient handling firearms? What about volunteering at the local soup kitchen and getting your volunteer hours so that you know half the people you're going to be encountering when you get your license, right? And so to become a police officer, you don't need police foundations. If you go to a police station and you look at the requirements, it says police foundations or equivalent. And so I always say to people, if I were to walk into a police station today and I say to the chief of police or whoever, I say, hey, my name is Mike Seiler. Instead of going to police foundations, I'm going to spend the next 3 years, the equivalent, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a black belt in Taekwondo. I'm going to become a sharpshooter and whatever. I'm going to volunteer 10 hours every single week at the local soup kitchen or whatever it is. And I'm going to work the night shift to pay all of this. I'm going to work at a night shift as a security guard. And I'm going to bring you a coffee every single month and give you an update report. And while I'm working that night shift, just keep my eyes open. I'm going to study all the local laws. So anytime you ask me what a bylaw is, I'm going to have the answer for you. In 3 years from now, he's going to have 50 applications and he's going to have mine on top. And who's he going to hire, right? And it's just that mindset of like to me, post-secondary education to kids today is just like a get out of jail free card. It's like
What
it's a
you're
party.
supposed to do next.
Yeah, yeah,
But guess what? What you're supposed to do isn't producing amazing results. The stuff that comes out of what you're supposed to do isn't actually the stuff that you're going to be end your life with. Like, I'm so glad I did that.
yeah.
Do
That's
that
true.
again. One of the things that you mentioned in there was character, and I just want to touch on that because this is something that is not promoted well by our current world, but is incredibly potent in the workplace, in relationships, in family, in all the things that actually matter in life. And um, I hear stories from younger people in workplaces, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, we can't even find anybody to show up. We can't even find anybody to work while we're there." There's these ideas of quiet quitting, and what was the other one that I heard? Anyways, but I can't remember the name of it because clearly I have too many gray hairs for these concepts. But it's the idea that I'm only going to work the absolute minimum that I'm required to do for the minimum amount of the hours that I'm there, because that's all they're paying for, and that's all they
Mhm.
deserve in hiring me. And this whole idea is that I'm the center of attention. It's whatever I need is the most important, and whatever you need comes second, because clearly I'm not being provided for in this way, therefore I'm not going to do it for you. But what is missed in there is the character of putting other people ahead of yourself. And you have to
Totally.
understand, if you're signing up for any kind of a program that is going to make you employed by somebody, you are going to be servant to that employer. That's the whole point. They are paying
Hmm.
you to do something for them. Otherwise, they're not going to pay you. It's not about you first. It's about them first. For a king of a country to put all of the citizens of that country first, it's not going to work. It
Hmm.
can't. There has to be a hierarchy system, and you have to understand that if you're going to go be a teacher or go be a police officer, you have to put yourself underneath the college of teachers or the chief of police of your area, and you have to be okay with that. You don't get to usurp that and become the boss just because you're being paid by those people. And that character aspect of building up, hey, you know what, it's not about me. I have that view of other people have to be put ahead.
Hmm.
And if I'm choosing to be in those positions, then guess what? I'm choosing to put those people ahead. So to understand that before you get in is super important.
Yeah. No, that's so good. We're super fortunate and blessed that like the 3.5 employees we have, like, we have three full-time employees that have been with us since, not since day one, but as they started, they've never left, right? And they've become integral parts of our organization, and they're, I mean, there's some realtors that wouldn't leave us because of them, and that's like you like excuse me, from day one. I'd have my first 10 realtors that would say to me, if you ever leave, I'm out of here, right? And it would plague me. I was like, well, like I'm trying to build something that you'll never leave, because I want the system to be why you'll never leave, and that's starting to happen where like they'll never leave because of all these great employees. And I think I'm going to go on a little side tangent here for a quick sec,
Love
but
side tangents.
yeah. I mean, I was looking at my numbers for last year over 2022, and I went into this mini depression right away because I just noticed that I made less, right? Like from 2022 to 2023, I just seen the number and I made less, right? Less. I mean, like I can't even comprehend. I'm
Bro.
like, we grew. How did we make less, right? And so I sent out an email, and I don't even want to repeat these words. I'm going to just be like honest, because I sent out this email to the team to say interesting statistic, and I used a term that it's inappropriate. I said, you know what happens when you realize you're ugly? You search around for people who are more ugly than you to make yourself feel better, right?
Yeah.
So I said it gently. I was just kind of joking, but that's what I did. I went to my statistics of my real estate board and I said, who else did less? Right. And it was interesting because our entire real estate association from 2022 to 23 was down just over 12%. Right. And then I took we're number 4 on out of 50 firms on our board. So I took the other top 5 brokerages and I said, how much are they less? And just so that I'm just going to quickly glance at my email here because it's at the top of my email. So I can give you yeah. So one of the brokerages was down 37.5%. One of the brokerages was down 24%. One of the brokerages was down 19.83%. One was down 4.84%. And our brokerage, the fastest growing brokerage in our area, was down 2.82%. So board average 12.6 or 12.4, ours 2.82. I'm still depressed. I can't like it's just in there. Like I just want to do a little bit more, right? But
Right.
we rose ranking our percentage. And that's why it didn't make sense to me. I like from 2022 to 2023, we went up in market share, but we just did less because the whole market is down, and that's okay. That was a side tangent because we were talking about employees. Even though I made less, I've spent a lot more in 2023 than I did in 22, and that's a hard fact too. Everyone got a raise. All my rents went up.
Mhm.
Some realtors want to save more. Some realtors aren't doing as well, so they pay me less. They don't pay their dues on time and that sort of thing. And there's a certain amount of transparency. I think it's worked for me. Like I'm transparent with my realtors, I'm transparent with my staff, and I let them know. I let them know what I make, so that they can't call me a thief. And so I saw this post on Facebook 2 days ago, and it was shared by a friend on my Facebook, and it was someone holding a sign that said, "My landlord owns 77 houses and I can't, or my boss owns 77 houses and I can't afford to pay rent." And I pulled my manager into the office in my moment of wanting to be transparent, and I said, look at the sign. And I said, it's not black and white like that, right? Because like in my first 2 years of business of starting the company, I owned 2 houses and I had to sell them. Right. So like there was a tremendous amount of risk in the beginning. And that's what that sign doesn't say. Like he got to 77 houses, but he had to risk a whole lot of stuff along the way. But on the other end of the spectrum, sorry, I can turn off my mic when I do that. But on the other end of the spectrum, you have to be aware that your staff are feeling that way, and you can't just walk around being like, grow up, and like you don't take any risk and stuff like that. They still have to feel that they're part of the team, they're part of that growth, and they are. And so I said, like, it's like we have to figure it out. But this is on the table. I'd love to do some kind of profit sharing. I don't want to own 77 houses, but maybe I can own 70, and you know what I mean? And like start to give them a little bit of the reward as well. And they're like, oh yeah, Walmart does that, right? And the big organizations do that because they figured that out, how to make their employees feel like they're part of the growth and they part of the reward, right?
Well, and the picture also doesn't tell you what kind of mortgages he's holding on the 77
Totally.
houses, and that he's in risk of downturn far more than you are, where you have one house and he's now got mortgage on, let's call it a downturn market. Anyways, yeah, you're right. There's not a full picture. The tangent that you went on also brings up the point of being careful as to what your measure of success is, because if the measure of success is only bottom line dollar at the end of the year, then it's very subjective to a lot of other things. Because yeah, you're right.
Totally.
If you have a higher staff cost and you even if you sold 30% more houses, but you've got 35% more costs, your numbers are your numbers at the end aren't going to reflect the growth that you're going for. And
Right.
I mean, I'm guessing that that not the only metric you're interested in is bottom line at the end of the year, because you want to build something. If it
Yeah.
was just bottom line, you'd have stayed as a producing realtor and sold houses and been comfortable and happy. Um, so we get to choose our measures of success, and I've always tried to. This is a realization that I've had in the last month, because Sherry started asking me questions about things, and from a very young age, I haven't measured my success on somebody else's metric. I choose my own metric. So like
Right.
when I was younger, it was I don't like school because it's stupid, because we waste so much time, and so I'm just going to tune out and work on other things that I want to do. And then it was, okay, well, I need a scholarship to go for a golf scholarship. And so I need XYZ grades. And so it's like, okay, well, I'll just go get those grades because I need them for something else. It had nothing to do with school, or you're supposed to get good grades or whatever. And then as a professional golfer, it was like, well, my metric is whether or not I'm consistently hitting the shots that I want to hit, not the results that I'm looking for in a particular tournament. And then it's into business, and it I actually got stuck at one point in life because I was measuring my success as a wedding photographer as how many weddings that I was doing times how much I was charging per wedding times how many awards that I got from other people thinking our images were good. And I got stuck down that thing, only to find out at the end of that year that it's like I'm so depressed because I did all the things I wanted to do, but they weren't actually the things I wanted to do. It wasn't until somebody else said, well, no, we measure success differently. So that changed my mind on that. And so now, there's this definite rule, shall we say, that your view of success is based on what you choose to view success as, not as what somebody else does. And it's dangerous to get down that path. But
Mhm.
anyways, that was a tangent of a tangent. So
It's all
look at
good.
that.
All
Double
good.
tangent squared. Is that tangent times tangent
Yeah.
squared,
Yeah.
or is that just tangent plus tangent? I'm not sure. But
I, just to go in this direction a little bit, both Dave and I are Christians. We're Bible believing Christians, and I think what's interesting too is that we're like, this is my own kind of personal like belief or aspect of everything we're going through, but it's like I find every like I've watched David. I think he's watched me back, go through these highs and lows, and I think there's another element of this, which is our faith and the fact that we both believe that we're being we're being developed, like we're being spiritually developed. And at the end of the day, in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now, if we never if financially speaking, if we don't have a dime in the bank, then I believe that we still growing tremendously in our faith, in our spirituality and whatnot. And
there's
I
more
just
value than just the diamond and the money.
yeah, like I'm constantly thankful for just the mind that God gave me.
Right.
Like I'm just like I'm it's a curse. Like I was talking about my daughter about this yesterday. She's like, it's not good the way you always overthink stuff and this and that. And I'm like, kind of, but I mean, I'm thankful for that. Like I like being in that position that where my mind just and I make mistakes in that, and I win in that, and I just believe that God's both blessing me and teaching me in that process. So it's there's so much more to the picture than just success and money. Like it's the failures that our faith grows and we develop and grow as people. And so I'm just in love with this journey called business and how it relates to our faith as well.
Well, and the general idea, the overarching idea is that we were designed. There is a designer. He gave us instructions on what to do, and when we do those things, things get. That's the way that we're supposed to live. And so these ideas of character building and the things that you can't see and caring for others over yourself are principles that our designer has given us. That when we work them out properly, it's amazing what happens. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm diving into this in a book that I'm writing right now, but is this idea that your world around you mirrors what you're like, and that is, if you walk into a room and you're like, "Oh, hey guys, what's going on? Hey," the people that you talk to are going to be affected by that, and they're going to reflect that back to you. It's usually subconscious, but it's like, okay, well, how can I talk to you? Oh, what's wrong? How's it going? What happened? Well, now you've got this downward tone of all the people around you, which actually feeds what you're giving them. Whereas if you walk into a room and being like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm so excited to be here. What's been happening in your life? Oh man, are those new shoes? Did you just get new shoes? Did they make you run faster?" And I can even see it in your face right now. Even me faking it at this point, it reflects in the people around us. So if I'm exuding joy and love and care and valuing you above me and being interested in what you're saying, then the people around me are also going to give me back joy and love and being interested in what I have to say. And so
Hmm.
it's like I don't like the word we create our own reality, but there's a mirror that walks around with us, and the people that we spend time with are reflected by the how we behave, and we get to choose how we behave. And therefore, if we want to be loved and cared for, then we need to love and care for the
Yeah.
people around us.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of putting others above you, but the overarching idea is that life's not meant to be lived alone.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a together activity. It's a joint, it's a team activity. And that's true in friendships. It's true in marriage. It's true in our family. It's true in our communities. It's true in business. Um, you know, I choose to be the person who's going to bring joy and life and love to people around me. And it's just amazing. I expect nothing in return, but it just comes. It
Hmm.
just comes. So when I message Mike and I'm like, "Hey, come talk online with me for a little while," he's like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
It's just it's a wonderful thing, and we can actually make the world around us better through
Yeah. Yeah.
business, through life and
Yeah.
marriage. Anyways, another tangent.
I totally agree, and I like how you said, I don't want this to be whatever the phrase you use, like visualization or
Yeah, no,
uh,
it's not manifestation.
yeah, man, like.
It's
But
just a
what's
mirror.
interesting is all these terms that are super prevalent in today, like from the Think and Grow Rich and all. Like, there's this whole culture, and I believe, like, and I'm not afraid to say it, that like there's an evil side to a lot of this stuff, but
Absolutely, there is a
for
spiritual
everything
battle going on.
that there's evil like that, it's only contrasting what our creator designed to be to be the right way. And so, like, for us just to like run away from that stuff is almost like to run away from so much truth. Is that phrase, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right,
And it's one thing to, like, how to win friends and influence people just to do things for the sake of getting results. That's evil, right? But for me to genuinely care about somebody and recognize that that comes with sacrifice, it comes with messiness, and you can't run away from that or else you're a fraud, right? For me to say, how's your day going? You look great today, and you're like, actually my day's going crap. And it's like, now do I run away from that?
right.
There's the fraud. If I can actually love you and care about you in that moment, then there's you get well past the surface, right?
Well, and there's a book that I'm actually writing right now. It's called my working title on it is "How to Make Friends with Anybody in an Elevator Before You Reach the Fifth Floor." And the idea is people love other people who make them feel good. And it's not a surprise how to make somebody feel good. Care for them, listen to them, be interested in what they're interested in. Basically, all the things you want. It's not rocket science, but it
Mhm.
requires a denial of what I want. And that selflessness is hard. It's hard to learn. That's one of those character things that's hard to learn because right from the time we're born, I want to eat. I want food. I want activity. I want entertainment. And if that's not broken and turned into what you want, or being able to see what you want or anticipate what you want, and then doing that thing, that's a big one. So if
Mhm.
you want to learn to work on something, go do something for somebody else that's amazing, that's unexpected to that person, and
Mhm.
just watch. Just watch.
Yeah, totally.
It's cool. I heard
Mhm.
there was a story the other day. Talking to a friend yesterday, he says he started a skate shop and skate and record shop in a small town, and he's like, this guy came into the store and he's like, I just he's talking about quitting school, and my friend said, it's important, whatever. They talked for hours, and he's like, I tell you what, it's important to finish school and to move forward and to say to yourself that I've accomplished at least something and to get on a track that's going to produce good things. And he says, so I'll tell you what, if you graduate, I'll give you the skateboard of your choice, the trucks and the wheels and the board of your, what? Like, anyways, so this is a couple of months ago. So he says, yeah, I mean, this guy's coming in every week, giving us like updates on his report card, and he but being able to do something for somebody else to encourage them in a certain way, it makes the world around you better. And if done right, if done selflessly, ooh, we need more of that. See,
You weren't at the men's conference yesterday, but that was the topic. It was
was
about,
that the topic?
yeah, it was
I saw
just
a
all,
note on it, but
yeah, it's just one-on-one mentorship, like one relationship with one person. And the speaker was referring to like his broken family and his grandfather coming in, not taking him out, but basically approaching the mom saying, hey, can I spend time with your son, my grandson? And that weekly meeting of mentorship, teaching him how to drive, turned him into a speaker that speaks to hundreds of thousands of men. And I think the topic was around apathy, but I don't know if I'm getting the word wrong, but it's just weak men, weak people in general just don't know how to speak up, and like where it's fight, flight, or freeze, right? And we're in a
ooh,
culture now that is we either run away or we freeze, but nobody stands up for what's right. And part of that is just even mentorship. Like it's so much easier to see a problem or a need and say, not me, not my problem, or just to turn an eye, but to actually get on the ground with the homeless guy and say, you know, how can I help you, or to see that person in need.
and
And
here's the thing: it's not just the homeless guy, and I want to
it's
hammer this home.
everybody.
The homeless guy is absolutely super important. Go spend time with that person, but it's your kid, it's your wife,
Totally.
it's your friend who all you do is go bowling together and never talk. Um, I learned several years ago um, to watch people intentionally to determine what's going on, and then being bold enough to ask what's actually going on, and then shut up and just listen and
Mm-hmm.
let them talk, and don't give them any solutions. Just listen and help somebody understand that you care. Okay? If nobody else is going to care, I care. I'm going to care for you. And then all of a sudden you become a sounding board, and you become a trusted advisor to this person, whatever they're going through. And it doesn't matter what they're going through. The point is, it's life, and it's difficult, and without pain there isn't growth. And we all want to grow, but we don't want the pain part. But it's part of it. It's
I'll give
the
you two more
losing is part
its.
of it. What's that?
I'll give you two more its, because you
Okay.
said it's your wife, it's your children. Um, from the conference, there's two more its. It's only one person, because if you take the creator of the world, Jesus, who uh, chose 12 people. I mean, if someone that powerful only chose 12, then I'm pretty sure the bar we can like it's somewhere below 12, so somewhere
Right.
between 1 and 12, but let's say 1. That's a pretty, like, I mean,
Low
you've hit
number.
the,
Yeah.
you're on the map with 1. All right, it's 1, and it's not a lifetime commitment. Like
Right.
Jesus spent roughly 22 months, less than 2 years, with his 12 disciples. I mean, chances are, if you step out in faith and you help somebody and you mentor somebody, it's probably going to be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then
But
they're
Mike,
and
what if
then
I say the wrong thing?
and then they're flying away, right? And they're encouraged and they're mentored, right? So be encouraged that, yeah, like it's scary to step out and to help somebody,
And the thing
but
is, the thing is, I've heard that before too. Is that, oh well, I just don't know what to say. Well, guess what? Your words matter, and the reason they matter is because you're another human.
mhm,
It's not rocket science. Humans are
it's
meant to
not.
be together and to
That's
help
right.
each other together. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's.
Dude,
Did you
I'm
ever
pretty
hear?
sure podcasts have limits of 1 hour, and we're getting up towards over 50 minutes.
Oh,
That's
Mike, you're
awesome.
so wrong. They don't have a limit of an hour. You may have a limit of an
I
hour.
don't. No, this was good.
Honestly, life is fun, and Mike's been through a lot of it, and I really appreciate his view on business and life. And I love your friendship, and I'm so happy that you're my friend. Um, go make a friend. Go give back to somebody else, and don't worry about failure. It's not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be,
Hmm.
and you may actually learn something really valuable in there. There was a guy who was talking about failure, and he said that what is developed in the time of failure is what you need to succeed the next time,
Hmm.
and you don't get to have that thing without the failure to do it.
Totally.
I'll bet the next time Mike has a business idea, he's going to approach the business plan differently than
Yeah.
he did with the escape room.
Yeah, I've paid for my education through the School of Hard
Absolutely.
Knocks. I've learned things that people, I mean, they'll never learn in school, because it's, you physically just have to go out and grow those muscles by
Oh, and
yourself.
by
And
the way, do you notice that Mike, even though he's failed in this, isn't sad, depressed? Oh, I can't talk about that because it affects me too much. He's taken the information, he's dealt with it, he's learned from it, and now he's going to move forward with it, which is what
yeah,
you do with
yeah,
information.
and that's probably one of the most important things that I think for the younger generation, for all people, but because again talking to my daughter about this yesterday, is like, we got to get out of the mindset of identifying ourselves with our failures and our weaknesses. Like, don't ever say to yourself, this is who I am, when that who I am
Mm,
is a negative statement. No.
right.
Like, you, like, identify yourself with the opposite every time, right? I
You get to
mean,
choose who you are. Who are,
yeah,
who, are,
you
who
get
do you
to,
want to be?
yeah. And you gotta, like, it's so important that we surround ourselves, not, like, again, like, what, like, this is where that whole mirroring, or what the successful world is going to tell you. They talk about surrounding yourselves with people who are even more successful than you, so that, like, but I mean, just bottom line is, like, you have to surround yourself with good people, and that good person might be someone who only makes $40,000 a year. It might be a very important person to have in your sphere of influence. So it's not all millionaires, but it's important that you are surrounded with good people. Some of them are going to be successful on the outside, some are going to be super successful on the inside. But the important thing is that when you do fail, that they're there to help pull you out of this mind trap that we put ourselves into, that
Right.
it's a suicide in our minds, and it's so
It
dangerous.
is. It's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah, it is awful.
Anyways, all right. I love you. Don't run away once I press end here, but love you. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your beautiful mind, your super jacked mind with all these new brain muscles that have developed over the last 2 years. And we'll talk to you again soon.
All
Thanks so
right,
much, Mike.
see you.